I had to return to one of the great fonts of wisdom in my life, my father, through this point. When I told him that I had been selected by you to give the commencement address for St. Michael Academy, without congratulating me, without asking me any further questions or without any further ado whatsoever, he immediately said, "Would you do something for me?" "Sure. What?" "Tell them that there are things in life that will require them to work hard and that time passes quickly. Tell them to find something they think is important and do it." From my father to you, your time is limited and the work is demanding. Your memento mori will keep you from wasting your quickly passing time and putting things off. We often put off important work because we imagine that at some point in the magical future, we will inexplicably become capable of it, or we'll just wake up doing that important work someday. In the sage words of John Fogerty, someday never comes. Remembering your death will rid you of the idea that you're waiting for something to happen and initiate you into real life. Real life? What in the world is that? What have you been doing with yourself before real life happened? You are too important. You are too important to live in a holding pattern, waiting for this degree, this job, this relationship, this thing, to legitimize your existence. The perspective I recommend to you will help you discover what is of real importance and pursue it beginning now, today. As the saying goes, failing to plan is planning to fail. Which brings me to my second point. Point number 2, to remember your death frees you from anxieties about success and failure. Everyone struggles to gain this amorphous thing called success. But what is it? It seems to have a different measure for it according to the particular goals we want to achieve. But it also has an objective element as well, so that it's possible to speak of a successful human being. You and I have been created with one goal in mind, one telos, one objective. And I'll get to that in just a moment. For now, let me say that in the light of our life's eventual closure, even what seems to be a momentous failure isn't worth our anxiety. More to the point, every worldly failure viewed from the perspective of the last things is at most a minor setback and possibly even a great help. Think back to the expeditionary force chopping their way through the forest in the wrong direction. Think what might happen if a worker's axe broke and he couldn't chop down the trees that blocked the path to nowhere. Every failure viewed from the perspective of the last things is at most a minor setback. And every success, however magnificent, has only relative value. And for that reason, your memento mori will bring you greater peace. No failure will be able to break you, and no prospect of success will utterly consume you. Apart from one success. And that's my last point. Number 3, to remember your death allows you to avoid the one real failure and to achieve the one real success. Like Martha from the Gospels, we are distracted and busy with many things. Like her sister Mary, we must choose the better part. We must hear Christ saying to us, one thing is necessary. You know this already. You've experienced this much this year. Life throws everything at you all at once and says, catch. You're going to be stretched when you leave here by college work, by work, by relationship work. To do everything all the time and to be everything to everyone. As important as these things may be, many times they're just a distraction from the one thing that really matters. And there is only one, capital O, that matters. Consequently, because there's only one thing that really matters, there is really only one failure. Near the turn of the 20th century, the French novelist Léon Bloy captured it succinctly. The only real sadness, the only real failure, the only great tragedy in life is not to become a saint. Your memento mori will make you evaluate everything against this one goal, becoming a saint. Well, that's easy then, right? Good. St. Thomas Aquinas was once asked, how do we become saints? His response is very simple. Will it? Great. I will suggest just one or two things. First, keep your eyes on Christ, who is the pattern. We know from the Gospels that Jesus himself, if he didn't give this advice specifically, he certainly followed it. He always had the end in mind. He always knew his memento mori. And it motivated everything that he did, every path he took, the way he conducted himself with every person. Pattern yourself on him if you can. Because it's Jesus, as the Second Vatican Council tells us and as Pope John Paul II reiterates in his encyclical Redemptoris Missio, Jesus fully reveals man to himself and brings to light his most high calling. I'll end now. To remember your death is the most practical piece of advice that I could give to anyone. As I intimated at the beginning of my remarks, this is a piece of advice that I have not kept perfectly myself. I am on the way with you. But it is the most practical thing. Your memento mori is how not to sweat the small stuff. Your memento mori is how to accomplish meaningful goals, truly meaningful goals, and not waste your time on goals that are beneath you. Your memento mori is how to be at peace with yourself and with the world. It's how to become a saint. Becoming a saint begins now. It's not easy, and you have a finite amount of time to achieve it. But what else is there? You have a high calling. Pope Benedict XVI, Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI, said, "The world offers you comfort. You were not made for comfort. You were made for greatness." To remember your death is the only real way to live the examined life. It's the only real way that I know to achieve that greatness. Class of 2019, congratulations. Go live your memento mori.